That's Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. I'm Mr. Spina, and I'm going to tell you why Wolfenstein 2 is a trashy game. I've been playing Wolfenstein since I was a little boy. And that's the honest to goodness truth. And by the way, if I'm making eye contact with people outside, it's because I got my 3B in the house. 3B say, hey! Hey! That's my squad. Anyway, so I've been playing Wolfenstein since literally I was tiny. The first Wolfenstein game came out before I was even born. It came out in 1981 for the Atari. There was a sequel in 1984, the year I was born, which I still didn't play. However, about the 1992, a super groundbreaking game came out called Wolfenstein 3D. And it was a first-person shooter, and it was the first first-person shooter. It changed the world. Okay, it wasn't the very first first-person shooter, but it changed the genre, all right? It was groundbreaking. The same company who created Wolfenstein 3D created Doom. And Doom is a game that still comes out today. I think there was one released last year, as a matter of fact, for Xbox One and PS4. Doom is super popular. These games change how we expect gaming to be. Wolfenstein 3D, you ran around, you killed Nazis. Even in the game, I forget if it was the sequel or the first one, you literally killed Adolf Hitler. Killing racist people. Now, I'm not a big fan of violence, but getting rid of racist people, that seems like a good thing. The Americans bought it. We bought it. It was cool. You could relate to it. It was awesome. Fast forward. They tried to make Wolfenstein games, especially in the 2000s. They actually started kicking games out for Xbox 360, and they were good, but they weren't groundbreaking. They didn't change the genre. They didn't change anything until a company called Bethesda bought the rights to Wolfenstein. Now, my crew here, you know Bethesda because we live near Bethesda, Maryland. It's only 35 minutes that way. Well, Bethesda, Maryland is the home of the company Bethesda Studios. They made a brand new Wolfenstein game in 2014 called Wolfenstein: The New Order. Same premise, though. Let's go kill some Nazis. Except it became groundbreaking again, because they took the platform of Xbox One, PS4, they upped the graphics, they changed all the weapons. You shoot with lasers. Dude, you go to the moon in the game. You go to the moon, and you jump up really slow because there's no gravity, and you do like Mario and Mario 2, where you jump up really high and his legs keep wiggling, and then you float down. It's realistic. It was awesome. As realistic as going to the moon could be, because we ain't going to the moon for reals. And it was sort of silly. They even had this like old Jewish dude in the game who was part of this like ancient, like almost a cult of like super nerds. And they created all these advanced weapons and stuff in ancient times. It was a little crazy. It was a little silly, but people bought into it again. It was like the old Wolfenstein was back. And then Bethesda Studios created this. The main character, BJ Blazkowicz, is back, except he died at the end of Wolfenstein: The New Order. Now, he's not a zombie in this game, but they knew that BJ Blazkowicz, the main character here, they knew that he was the selling point of the game. You're going to run around. You want this buff. Look at y'all, looks tough. You want to go kill Nazis with him, right? Well, they brought him back to life. Okay, so in the beginning of the game, he's died because a grenade blew up in his hand, and you know that's how usually you die, okay? And his friends come and rescue him before a bomb gets dropped on the building, and then they have surgery on him for hours and hours. He goes into a coma and wakes up, and he's still alive. That is not realistic. And that's only the beginning. Now, I am not usually a hater, but I don't like this game because it goes into the brain. It's completely unrealistic. And of course games are unrealistic. A lot of games we play have magic in them and stuff like that. People throwing fireballs. But this type of realism messes with something I love. History. You don't mess with history. You don't make silly history that doesn't make sense. First of all, you just saved someone who had a bomb that blew up in his hand. Nope. And then you go back to your hideout. First, you kill Nazis in a wheelchair, which is pretty tough. But you're like paralyzed. You can barely walk. You start to wear a suit that makes you walk. It's like a suit of armor. Okay, seems a little cheesy. Then you meet up with the Black Panthers. America's been taken over by Nazis. So a whole bunch of racist people like the Ku Klux Klan are out, right? Now the KKK was around since the 1800s, so that makes sense. They would be in America. And if the Nazis took over America and the Nazis are racist, wouldn't the KKK join them? Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Why would my main character join up with the Black Panthers? If America had really been taken over by Nazis, the Black Panthers would not exist. The Black Panthers were formed in the early 1960s. How would they even form if the Nazis had taken, a racist white group had taken over? It doesn't make sense. Unless you're Bethesda Studios and you think you're making a political statement by putting a radical group in. So basically what I'm saying is, Bethesda Studios was trying to capitalize and make money on the fact that some people are trying to divide America into two different races. So Bethesda Studios made up this story about how the white dude joins the Black Panthers, which, by the way, look it up. The Black Panthers would not let white people in. Boom. Okay? He joins up with them, and then they help him kill the Nazis, but they also talk like 1970s and 60s civil rights leaders would. Their tone of voice, the things that they say. If the Nazis took over America, there would never have been a civil rights movement. So how do they talk and act like the civil rights movement was about to happen even though the Nazis took over and would have stopped that? It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And then to top it all off, spoiler alert. Oh, sorry, just dropped something. Spoiler alert. Over halfway through the game, your head gets chopped off. Oh, guys, no, I'm not done yet. You ready? That's okay, because they do a head transplant and you live.
Oh, my.
You put a doctor, the old Jewish guy who's like an ancient scientist, basically. He puts your head on another body, and then now you can walk again, and now you can go beat up more Nazis. I don't know where to go from there. I played the first game, and not only did it obviously it changed history, but everything sort of made sense, and you really felt like, holy crap, BJ Blazkowicz is trying to save the world from these Nazis who are terrible. And then you go into Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, and you're on a submarine with Black Panthers, and you're going to have twins, baby twins, in a submarine with no doctors around, and there's a pig on the submarine too, because there's a tiny farm in the submarine. Oh, I forgot to mention the tiny farm. What? The weapons in the game and the graphics, by the way, are worse than the first game. So a game comes out 3 years after the first game, and the weapons are terrible. There's no lasers anymore or anything like that. It's almost as if the whole moon thing never happened. And then and the graphics are the exact same. 2018, man. I expect my graphics to be ballin'. And they were not. I give this rating for this game a dud. And if you were trying to make a political statement with a game, shame on you, man. Shame on you. Games are made to be fun, not make political statements. If you make a game and you're trying to promote something, then half of your audience doesn't care. If you make a game for Republicans, guess what? The Democrats are going to hate it. And if you make a game for Democrats, the Republicans, why would you make a game? If you're going to make a statement, why don't you make a statement about unity or love or happiness instead of trying to... This is garbage. This is garbage. You heard me. Don't buy this game. I can't wait until I go to GameStop and turn it in for credit so I can buy a real game. Done.
Dang! Jesus!
By the way, everything I said, it was true. Let me show you what we're going to do with this. Bye, B.